My word is a dream deferred, a verb that lives unheard. Two wings of the same old bird. A vandal verses, true voodoo curses meant to quench thirst. Kalishnikov burst, rebel rhymes, a fire next time. A victimless crime, music of a mind. Sorrow songs, a prayer or a psalm. The voice of the throne, louder than a bomb. Grim hymns, original scenes like violin strings, pulled hand grenade pins, signed cries from tenement skies. For we must die, the dust I will rise. This shout, a shout of no doubt. Night's candle burnt out, the dread king of drought. This scream, a musical theme of consciousness screams as I have a dream. Mi poema es mi bandera es mi poema. Extranjera, prisionera, mi bandera es mi poema es mi bandera es mi poema, extranjera, prisionera, mi bandera es mi poema, un poema Julia de Burgos, un poema Rodríguez de Tío, un poema Lolita de Blon, un poema de Cipadán, laile, laile, lo laile, lo lai, laile, lo laile, lo laile, lo lai. Lai lo laile lo laile lo lai, laile lo laile lo laile lo lai, lai lo laile lo laile lo lai, laile lo laile lo laile lo lai, lai lo laile lo laile lo lai, laile lo laile lo lai.
Tonia, tu nombre suena a historia de un pueblo que se busca y se ha encontrado en ti. Antonia, tu nombre es como un alma. Los pájaros desatan la luz del porvenir. Antonia, los pueblos no perdonan. Un día esa ley se ha de cumplir. Aquellos que un día derramaron tus pétalos de sangre no sabían que así echaban las semillas en el aire y a la vista del pueblo habrían de surgir. Antonia, los pueblos no perdonan. Un día esa ley se ha de cumplir. Muérete, la juventud la canta, es bandera en sus labios, promesa y porvenir. Antonia, aquí estamos presentes para contarle al mundo la luz que nace en ti.
Antonia, you touched me. You yelled peace at your assassin, and he killed you without mercy, proving the point of your slender fingers' accusation. Asesino! 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 Thus, poets still sing your sad song of protest. Students with prudence embroiled in contemporary civil unrest manifest from generation to generation, their spirits not yet out of breath. For though they fight for life, they too, like you, fear not death. Antonia, you've touched us.
Aquellos que un día derramaron tus pétalos de sangre no sabían que así echaban las semillas en el aire y a la vista del pueblo habrían de surgir.
Your 21 years, just starting life, fell without defense. A tiny bullet that made you fall. Your blood still stains upon our walls, metallic, sweet and warm, that I am brought to mourn when I think maybe we could have sat together as friends talking like people, sharing laughter, and planning perhaps the liberation of Puerto Rico. Let me say then, to the blowing winds, through the winds of minds that may carry my voice, through the diaspora of you are the innocence that tries to make common sense out of Puerto Ricans, pitted against Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico, throwing rocks and bottles, rubber bullets and tear gas, putting into practice blatant torture tactics as the hypocrisy of democracy tolerates in this world. Nevertheless, the youth goes marching with pure acumen for the human right to transform intelligence into human excellence. Let it not take another death to avenge, for us to realize once again the bloody cost that it costs to educate a life. Lest we forget, this is revolutionary. And there are no innocent people, Antonia. No, there are just no innocent people.
Esa ley se ha de cumplir. Tu muerte la juventud la canta, es bandera en sus labios, promesa y porvenir. Antonia, aquí estamos presentes para contarle al mundo la luz que nace en ti. Antonia, los pueblos no perdonan. Un día esa ley se ha de cumplir. Antonia, los pueblos no perdonan.
I just stopped in to say what's up to Dee because I fucking miss her. And she says, "You want to introduce me?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to introduce you." And I should have asked her when. Because it's all the way at the fucking end, and I got shit to do. Pero no, but in all honesty, to see Papoleto up here doing his thing warms my heart. We all know that story, and we know what he does and his brilliance. And whenever I see Papoleto, I see the Reverend Pedro Pietri. Whenever, you know what I mean? Whenever I see Papoleto, I see the Reverend, man, and it's just. And the Reverend is here tonight. The Reverend is here tonight. So, yeah, and it's not. Papoleto, you know what I mean? Just so you know, Papi, like whenever I do see you, I see him, and then what are you coming? You want to fight? What the fuck? What are you doing? Come on. What do you gonna say?
Yesterday was Pedro's 72nd birthday.
You kidding me? Oh, I didn't even know that, but I felt it. Yesterday was the Reverend's 72nd birthday, man. Coño, that's what's up. Yes, please. Reverend Frank Perez was up here, and I love him too. Big round of applause for Frank Perez. Apparently, a lot of you people don't give a fuck about Frank Perez. Because I said big round of applause, and I see Titi like, no, I'm not gonna applaud for him because he owes me money. So, Pete, this is what happens when you ask me to introduce you. I had no idea I was going to come up here and do this, but I'm up here, and it's an honor. It is an honor, and I'm here with. Okay, let me share a story. All right, I'm in the room with Dosia and with Eugene Rodriguez. Please give it up for that amazing playwright, Eugene. Yeah, el que no se calla. Oh my God. He does not shut the fuck up. Listen. So many years ago, it's about 20 years ago, Eugene wrote this play, The Mambo Cafe. You guys remember The Mambo Cafe? It was an amazing play. And he just bestowed this honor of being in the play. And it was an amazing play. And I had so much fun not knowing what I'm doing, because I am not an actor. But I channeled something, and it was amazing. And every show, there was a part in which I'm talking to someone at the bar, and who I'm talking to, I think it may be Frank.
Yeah.
And he talks about how there's a spirit by the jukebox. And the spirit just takes us through what we need to go through. And she's a special spirit. And as he's telling me the story, this actress comes out in white, and she's like in front of the jukebox doing her thing. It was beautiful. And that spirit was Dylica, as she was doing this bullshit time. And I remember every yo soy un jodón. I don't give a fuck. On stage, I get in, but every night that part me dio calor frío. And I remember I felt like I knew Dee, and I didn't, but I felt like I knew her. Fast forward, I had a comedy troupe called New Yorican Rule. Okay.
The best motherfuckers in the world.
You're goddamn right, boo.
They were.
And my partner now, Sonia Gonzalez, she came. She's been following New Yorican forever. And Sonia and I and Tammy Kubelet, we now have this. We have this group, TNA, and we're working on a show. Anyway, she comes to me, Sonia, after a show. She says, because we used to do this Young Lords reunion sketch. And all the motherfuckers were missing fingers. And fuck you, that was hilarious. So Sonia comes to me. Sonia comes to me and she says, yo, Dylica heard about this, yo, and she wants to see it. I'm like, what the fuck, what? She says she wants to see the sketch, so we put it on tape for Dylica, and we sent it. You never saw it.
No, I have it now. Yeah.
You have it, but she never saw it. She never saw it. They viewed it and say, nah, she shouldn't get this. This shit is seditious and treasonous. I'm like, they have no fingers, so what the fuck is a threat? And then someone came to me and said, yo, you on a list? Yo, what the fuck, who are you? And he bounced. I'll never forget that. He said, yo, you on a list? Like, what list? And boom, he bounced. What the fucking list am I on? That list. Sometime later, soon after, Dee was released, as she should have been. She was released. And we're preparing New Yorican Rule. And Sonia comes over to me, she said, yo, Dylica's here. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't understand, I don't get starstruck. But apparently, political prisoner struck, yeah, I get that. I said, the fuck you talking about? Dylica's here. She said, Dylica's here, she wants to see you guys live. I'm like, fuck you and fuck the movement. Like, why the fuck? I've never felt this pressure to make sure that the show was supposed to be what it was and exceeded. Because we always went in all willy-nilly. We didn't give a fuck. I didn't care. But I did care. And I cared real hard that night. And so we did our thing. And it's one of the greatest shows we've ever fucking done. It was amazing. It was driven by a spirit that I have no idea what that was, but it was driven. And after the show, Dylica's walking up the aisle after the show, and we come out to meet the audience. And if you know New Yorican, that aisle in the middle, and so I jump off stage because I saw Dylica walking this way, and Sonia wants to make the introduction, but Dylica wasn't having it. Dylica walked over to me, and I walked over to her, and we had the most passionate fucking kiss. Oh my God. Yo! She planted it here, and I planted it back. And it was like, yo, it was as if we've known each other for many, many years. And we've been, shut up, G. You don't need to know if there was tongue, Gene. Gene, shut up, you. You don't need to. There was tongue though, right? But there was a little tongue. There was a little tongue. There was a little tongue in the first one, because you just got out of jail, boo. You just got out of jail. You were trying to make out with everybody. Come on, motherfucker. She just got out of jail. Yeah, there was tongue. It was such. It was such an honor to have her feel what she felt. Can we get past our fucking makeout? What the fuck? I got other shit to say. It was a ridiculous moment. It was a cathartic moment for me. And because of that moment, I always said I will never be on my heels any show. Every show after that was I was prepared for no matter what and who wanted to make out with me. I was ready. So, and I've always kept that with me, and Dee and I, we've always been wonderful friends. Absolutely. Yeah, and I love her so much. And like I said earlier, I'm sorry, maybe I'm taking too much, but she asked me, do you want to introduce me? I'm like, and actually, I didn't think I was gonna be here tonight, because where I work, like the studio I'm at, they needed me later, and so I Facebooked you, and I said, Ma, I can't come through, but yeah, and she didn't even respond to it. She's like, he'll be there, fuck him. He wants to make out, and so I just came in to hug her. I just came in to hug Dilcia. I just needed to feel her. I just need to hug her. And then Eugene was here. I'm like, what? He's a cock blocker. But it's good to see Gene, and it's good to see all you folks that I love very, very much, man. El Barrio has given me a lot of love, it's given us a lot of love. Papoleto, and it's just been a pleasure to be here. And so she asked me to introduce her. I said, of course. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Queen, Dylica Pagan.
But the truth of the matter is, I came here for one reason only, was to be a part of a unity of two people that I adore and admire, and someone really that has been in my life for an eternity, who has known me as a young organizer, who knows me as a salsa dancer, who knows me as everything that I am, and that's Humberto Cintrón. And guess what? I am a bitch. 9 years ago, shut up. We were having, 10 years ago, I had this opportunity to meet a lady in Puerto Rico, and I said, well, before that, when I came out of my revolutionary, I wasn't in prison, let's be real. I had a revolutionary sabbatical. That's true, you know what? All the motherfuckers, I lived in Boston. When I lived in Boston, I was doing a TV series, and a young brother that was part of the show, Perdona, it's just like being in the wedding in the snow with my tits out in the cold. Now I don't have a voice, but that's okay. But you know what? There I was in Boston, but Sunday, coño. Family is unbelievable. But then I met this lady, and I said, coño, Pancho needs somebody in his life. And there I said, poof. And guess what? Sunday, Humberto Cintrón married our comrade, who's an incredible woman motherfucker in the world of funding, in the world of art. She's a poet, she's a painter, she does everything. You should dance, Bobby Plena. Puñeta, le dije, puta, está un poco más mejor que yo. And guess what? They got Sunday, and I was the madrina. So let's get up, a round of applause for the new husband and wife, Humberto Cintron. No, hello. She is not his wife. He is her husband. Luz Rodriguez and Humberto Cintron. Isn't that cool? Yeah. I love you both. It's like, I have to say something about Pancho. Pancho has been in my life, God, since I was just like Bob Anderson. Bob has been before Bob Anderson Gasty. But anyway, I'll tell other stories. But Pancho's been in my life since I was like 15 years old. Maybe, no, a little older. But it's like, he is an incredible human being. And Marcos, am I correct? Couple of months, we will celebrate the 35th anniversary of the first television series titled Realidades. And I am honored to be the first woman Puerto Rican producer, but the executive producer is Humberto Cintron. So hopefully in Taller Boricua we're gonna have a big celebration. Because you know what? I have now been in freedom 16 years. It's a long time, yeah. And I'm very happy. Life is not easy, but I'm in freedom. And I look around the room, and the most beautiful thing of this evening, and that is I'm looking at my life. Really. Every single one of you have played a major role in my life. And I am really blessed, In prison, I have no problem saying I was in prison. It's okay, because I'm a badass motherfucker. Hello? There was an officer that used to tell me, you know what, Miss Pagan? I do the count. And sometimes when I pass your room, you look like you're dancing. And I said, yeah, bro, you know why? Because I have so many fucking memories that I can dance whatever time U.S. imperialism gives me. And you know what? I did it. And in that interaction of people, there's a man that's not here, he's from California. My attorney, Jan Sussler, sent me an email about 8 years ago, and she said, somebody wants to visit you. You choose. I said, fine. I looked at the email, and I said, oh shit, Enrique Alvarez. He said, and I quote, I am an ex-FCI Pleasanton correctional officer. You changed my life. Can I come to Puerto Rico? Do you remember me and visit you? I said, absolutely. And I think the difference of life is every single one of you here gave me everything I am. Really. Most of you that know me, and there's Bob Anasagasti, that my father was his mentor, right, Papa? Yes. And everybody used to talk about Bob, he's a motherfucker, he's an anti-poverty pimp. And I said, he's a motherfucker because I know him. No, leave my Bob alone, he's in existence, leave him alone. And Bob was incredible, yes, and Bob was my soulmate. And those of you that remember, in those times, in the 70s, when we had the freedom, we had the power in East Harlem and New York City to fucking create change. And everybody in this fucking room was part of it. And I look at today and I said, what the hell is wrong with everybody today? They don't have that spirit of struggle. They don't have that commitment to change. We didn't care. We didn't care if we had to take over buildings. We didn't care if we had to spend 4 days in jail. We didn't care, but we made things happen. And I think we have a legacy to show our young people. Because you know what? I live in Puerto Rico. I made a choice in life. And a lot of you said, oh, coño Dilce, it was William. No. My father was a nationalist. He worked with Helena Valentin. and Bobby knows it. My father taught me about Don Pedro Arvizu since I was 4 years old. And my father told me the most important person in your life, in history, is Don Pedro Arvizu. And I said, wow. I said, Bobby, why? He says, you know what, mulata? My mother was Bayak and I was mulata. Oh, yeah, that's chévere. To be in East Harlem and be called that, I had no problem. I didn't have to go and learn about my culture. My parents gave me it. And he said, you know, because he believed in the freedom and the self-sovereignty of our nation. And he sacrificed his life. And he used to have this booklet of leather that he would open up and read me Don Pedro's, dialogues. And I would sit on his lap. And sometimes my family doesn't want to accept me because some of them think that they're white, but I never been wanting to be white. I never wanted blonde hair. I never wanted blue eyes. No. I like to be who I am and who I will always be. And I went through a lot of changes in life. But here, I look at this, Chicky and Jake. Carmen, every fucking birthday we bought cakes, right? And we celebrated our birthdays. We didn't care if it rained, sleet, or snow. Willie's boots were sold in Chicky and Jay's house. And Willie Morales had a fit. He wrote a book, and we're not mentioned, but we don't care. But he was part of our life, and it's like, sometimes it's difficult, but you know what? I don't care. I am who I am. And you know what? I decided to wear this blouse because this year I turned 70, believe it or not. Hey. And if Susan Sarandon can show her titties, so come on. As a revolutionary woman, Lolita Ron would tell me, nena, por favor, tápate esos senos, por favor. Yo dije, Lolita, ¿qué tú quieres que yo haga? Yo no puedo. Me decía, ay, mija, yo estuve en una reunión con Don Pedro y Don Pedro me dijo, y Lolita, para. Su generación era otra generación. La mía es otra generación. And then she looked at me. Ironically enough, this afternoon, Lolita Lebron's sister called me from Puerto Rico because she wanted to know, was I okay? Tell me that is not part and parcel of being loved by our ancestors. And people ask me, how did you become a TV producer? I'm going to tell you the real story. I'm writing, there's a new book coming out that will be out maybe in 8 months. The first book, then the second big book. But the reality of why I became a TV producer is because, I'll tell you a short story and it's real short, all right? Bata Leon got Gerardo Rivera, Jerry Rivers, a scholarship to Columbia University. Okay? Yes, that's the truth. All right? And then Jerry calls me, because I never knew him as Geraldo. He's always been Jerry. He said, D, I need somebody. Brother, can I take this off? Okay. Shit. I got it. Can I move it? Uh-huh. I know. It's this better here? My throat is heavy. Okay. Thank you, darling. Anyway, Jerry says, I need somebody to talk about, I'm doing Like It Is with Gil Noble. I said, well, maybe put Pedro Pietri. I called Pedro, and I said, yo, bro, call Gerardo. I want you on the show. They're going to take you tomorrow. He goes, yo, dude, you crazy. I said, shut up, motherfucker, bad days. And Pedro went. He finishes ABC, comes into my house. I lived on 110th Street, almost on 176 East Harlem, my first apartment. And he gets upstairs, he rings the bell, he said, yo, bro, what happened? I said, what? Bill Watson wants a co-host for Like It Is with Geraldo Rivera. I said, uh-huh. He said, you gotta do it. I said, I don't want you with Jerry on camera. So Bill Watson comes to my apartment, le hice 2 chuletas, arroz con gandure, unos plátanos maduros, and then he tells me, oh shit, I'm nervous. I said, don't be nervous, brother. Did I get the job? And I got it. But then Jerry Our Jerry, who's now dancing with the stars, the motherfucker can't even move. Have you seen him yesterday? I said, Puñeta, I did your commercial when you worked when you did the news, and I tried to show you how to do merengue. Ahora, 40 years later, you still can't move your body. You know, anyway, the universe conspires. You know, the universe conspires. And my conspiracy is every single one of you that have played a major part of my life. You know, I could not have survived the 20 years of my revolutionary sabbatical. Absolutely, yes. Without the memories that I have with each and every one of you, because it has been an incredible life that I had before, during, and now after. Sometimes it's difficult, you know, but you know what? I'm in freedom. And my comrade, Oscar, is still inside. But I'm gonna tell you why the fuck you're all here. See, I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna turn 70, I can sit down. I decided, you see, in prison, people are messed up and people don't have a way to express themselves, a way to feel free, a way to feel part of the universe, you know? So I decided to create a holistic healing program while I was inside. And then I decided to teach low-impact aerobics. And that Zumba bullshit, I started Zumba in the federal prison, baby. Friday we did salsa and R&B. And you can call it funky. I did. And you know what? The women loved it. And guess what? I was in a co-ed prison for 7 years, so I was able to jam. Hello. Yes. That doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't. Shut up. Papo, please. But the truth of the matter is that humanity exists in every occasion in life that we have. And sometimes we forget that we live in this crazy world, and we forget that there are people that are behind locked doors, and they don't have an avenue outside. But you know what? They have a spirit, and their spirit was creating a holistic healing program. I did that. I taught them salsa, but then I brought all the biggest, baddest mothers, others, of all of California to do healing work. Even though yo soy la che del mundo, and they thought they were healing, but you know what? They also taught me. I taught my sisters. And after coming out of prison, I made a choice of life. I lived in several places of Puerto Rico. But in 1974, I was doing a TV series, and the young man was here earlier. He had to leave. Michael Lynch was this young black kid who was brilliant. I used to call him my black people. He is Michael Jackson, goddamn, from the South Bronx. He was 19 years old, and I hired him to be part of Infinity Factory. And he was gay. And he's not here because he had his rehearsal tonight. He had to leave early. But he always says, Dee took me out of the closet. There are no closets to be have. There's a closet of the mind that people create. And Michael now today is an incredible artist. He doesn't need me to take him out of the closet because he is for real. And when I arrived in Puerto Rico, my experience in shooting at that period in 1974 in Loiza, I said, wow, I want to live here. If I come out of prison, I wasn't even thinking of going to prison. but it was the closest thing to our community that we used to have. Remember what El Barrio was? Do you remember when we could go on the weekends and sing doo-wop? Do you remember when on 110th Street, the congueros came and we played conga on the corner, and on 104th Street in Madison, Taller Boricua had a jam session? That doesn't exist anymore. Why? Because we've been gentrified. But you know what? We can't be gentrified in our hearts, mind, spirit, and soul. This building is the essence of a liberation process for artists. I have decided that where I live in Loiza, excuse me, when I was there in 74, they were developing this community. I said, coño, qué chulo, man. I like these houses. And guess what? I live there. And the beach, that's 2 blocks from my house, and some of you have been there and know where that is, right, Gladys, right? Maria, what? Yes, you do, my baby. Yes, you do, Pat. Chicky, Jay. Those of you have had the courage to come to Loiza because people get scared. I tell everybody, motherfucker, don't be scared. What? I come from East Harlem. I grew up with niggas and poor people. You know? I live in Loiza, and you know what? I'm happy. I'm calm. But there's a need to do what I want to do. And that's why I'm here to ask you to help me. Casa Luiza is not like Dilcia's avenue of creating bullshit. No. I want to create a healing home. A healing home for men and women. A healing place where people can come and learn. See those little gourds? Making each piece is not easy. I don't have an assistant. I would love to have a digital frame. I know all technology, absolutely, but I ain't got the money to buy it. But to take una higuera, a Puerto Rican gourd, you take it from a tree, you have to let it either ripen or you use it ripen, then you have to take a Dremel. A Dremel costs $89. George bought me my second one. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. George Carver did. You have to take it, I have to put a mask on, I have to open up, and then I have to scrape it, and then I have to put it in water, and then I have to put it in bleach, and then I have to clean it again. So don't think if you pay $35 for that little piece that you're giving me a lot of money. You ain't giving me shit. You know, Mickey Melendez is not here, but he always said, D, price them at your hourly rate. And the truth doesn't matter. It is not easy taking an iguana and shaping it and painting it. And then Mickey's wife bought me the engraver. Oh my God. I love clay. I'm an incredible ceramic artist. If you come to my house, you'll see I cannot afford to make clay. I can't. I decided when I left prison, I left $3,500 of paints so that my fellow prisoners could use all my ceramic paint. I left $1,000 of tools so that they could have classes of ceramics. What I learned in healing, I do body work. There's Walter Bosch, our master acupuncturist. He comes to Puerto Rico, fucking now doesn't want to come back. I don't have an acupuncturist, coño. But you know what? I learned, and Bob De Leon taught me the same thing. Bob was a master activist, lawyer. He did everything, but then he became this healer. And I have become a healer. I have wonderful hands. I want to turn my home, but you know what? When you get everybody's vibes inside your home, I don't like all that negative energy in my house. Am I correct? Do you like all that shit? No. I need to do un tallercito, a second floor that looks like a gallery, but there I can do body work. And then people that have been to my house, I have a balcón, I have an outside yard that I'm fixing a little by little, but we can do talleres. I took all the visuals of those cards. I have a collection of boxes. Because here in New York, every company puts out these incredible propagandas of visuals. Our people need to create their mirrors of spirituality. Our people need to reinforce themselves inside their hearts and soul and mind of who we really are. If we don't do that, brothers and sisters, compañeros and compañeros, we are this close to losing our nation. Rest assured. Today's a historical day. Yes, I just saw Obama. Oh my goodness. He wants to give Cuba democracy. Me cago en Dios, puñeta. Cuba has had a socialist approach to life that democracy needs to learn what it's all about. No me jodas. You know? I went in 2007, thanks to Mickey Melendez and the Cuban government. I spent 11 days in glory. The beauty, you know what it was? Walking down streets, and I said, coño, look at those old Fords, but guess what? It was like being in a Puerto Rican gallery in the 50s, or the Puerto Rican apartments. Where we came from the island, or the 30s, or my grandparents came in the 20s. They said, coño, it's cold here. And everybody painted their walls, hello, hot pink. Green, yellow, pero baby, in enamel, so it could shine. And all the cars in Cuba shine, and they shine about reality. I went to the AIDS Center. That's bullshit, the United States. Those people are surviving and they're living well, and they're incredible human beings. I mean, Obama better release Oscar Lopez Rivera, you know? Oscar's my comrade. I don't need to talk anymore. I'm going to read my poem, and if Linda and you have questions, we can do it. Oscar Lopez Rivera is my co-defendant. Oscar Rivera chose not to sign when we got our clemency. You know, I'm sorry, I might have egos, but that's cool. I did 20. He's been inside 34 fucking years. And the difference is that when I was inside, some of you know all the people that worked for Clinton. Yeah. Obama never hired a Puerto Rican. No, he didn't. The little Oreo brother, he tried to get what's our brother from the Bronx, and he had problems with his property. Okay? So we don't have Puerto Rican inside. What we need, I thought Lugar Nacosta would come, but he's not feeling a little well. But the truth of the matter is, you have to put pressure on him before he leaves to let Oscar come home. You know? He's my brother, he knows how to paint. Él bien chévere. He may be from Chicago, he's not from East Harlem, but he's a cool brother, to be honest, really. And, you know, we had a compañero machetero that was released, and Oscar was able to call for his wedding. I thought I was so cool. I said, oh, Carmen Valentin, my co-defendant, is the grandmother of Oscar Lopez's granddaughter, Karina. Karina calls me abuela because I couldn't see my son. My son just turned 37 years old, and some of you held him in his arms when he was a baby. Mickey, Chicky, right? Jay, remember? Yeah. And Joy. When William escaped, Joy was a 4-year-old, and she came and said, Jiggy, where's Titi Dulcia? She must have gone with Guillermo to go with the baby. I showed up at the house and I said, what, Joy? She said, what are you doing here? I thought you were with Guillermo. I said, no, I'm here. You didn't go with the baby? I said, no, I'm here with you. She said, oh, you remember that, Chicky? I'll never forget that. I said, you know, when you go to the supermarket, you have to be careful, Joy. She said, you know what, Uncle Willie already told me. I know all about the FBI. You know, and I think sometimes we have forgotten. We get lost in this millennium world, you know. I think it's chévere. I love, you know. Fortunately, Pancho and Lou's wedding, her students were able to see via Periscope the wedding. It's wonderful. But what about our personal lives? What about how did did we create things that we did? How did we make chalas happen? How did we create all the housing projects? How did we change health here in East Harlem? We didn't do it by fucking email, am I correct? Correct. We did it by going door to door, knocking, and saying, yo bro, mira, look in my eyes. How about change? How do we make it happen? I think we've forgotten that with technology. Yes. And we have to show our kids that you don't create change by sending emails. And please, they have to learn. They cannot tell the enemy every fucking thing they do in Facebook. I can't stand it. I'm eating, estoy comiendo, voy para el baño. What the fuck? I mean, are you gonna tell them when you're screwing too, you know? I remember when I was on parole, I went on a visit to New York and my parole officer was a lesbian woman, she's a wonderful woman. And she played, she says, I think you like this song. I said, really? She put, Let's Get It On. I said, coño, I love that shit. She was happy. And she looked, she said, what? And she said, I said, yeah. Oh, Dulcia. I said, yes. You have a compañero in New York? I said, the vets want to know who I fucked. You know, and the truth of the matter is that whether you like it or not, they do watch us. And we have to create a new mentality of how do we create our own change? How do we create, this is a wonderful place, but how do we make it survive? Gus just came upstairs to tell me that can I help him put together, maybe. I offered to do it. I think Casa Luiza, what I want to do is to create a network of using art as a tool for conscious raising, yes, holistic healing, yes, and establishing an essence of our culture. I live in Loiza, the essence of our African roots. And you know what? There are no archives. I have footage, historical footage. I have a friend of mine, but I don't have the money to put together a 15-part series so I can educate the kids not only of Loiza, but the people here, because they don't know. Loiza is not just bomba y plena. Our African culture is not just dancing. You know, we have a history of traditional struggle. We didn't become emancipated because the government wanted to free black people, let's be real. They didn't do it in Puerto Rico, they didn't do it in the United States, and they haven't done it anywhere in the world. I adore my brother Nelson Mandela, but South Africa is still fucked up. The United States is still fucked up. Puerto Rico doesn't even want to deal that we have black people. People tell me, ay, ¿por qué te fuiste pa' Loiza? Eso porque yo vengo del barrio donde hay negra, hay gente pobre. Hello? And, you know, that's the reality of life. I don't want to be known as, oh, Dylica Pagan, the queen. I'm not, I guess I am. I know I'm a queen. My father and mother, who Bob knew for since he was a kid, my father always told me I was a star. And I am my mother and father. My father got me my first bra at 13 years old because I was doing a dance show. So, you know, I couldn't do anything. My father said, no, mulata. My mother was Guayaca and I was mulata. To honor is this Women's Month, but to honor women, we have to honor men, because without us, motherfuckers, you would be here, you know? Understanding struggle, understanding healing. We have to heal from within. Casa Luiza, if you don't know, Luiza in Puerto Rican culture is incredible. We are the only indigenous culture that have chieftains of tribes, cacicas. Screw the cacicas. We have 8 cacicas. And the main one era Luiza. Luiza lived all of what you guys know as Isla Verde, La Calle Loiza. That was part of her territory. Bob has a house in Luquillo. You see, I know I'm putting your shit out. It's all right. Fajardo, all of that was Luiza's territory. And that's where I come from. And guess what? The beach that I live next door to, that's where the Cimarrones hung out and conspired against the Spaniard inquisitors. And the kings were there. And they burned the Spanish flag. Did you all see that? It's incredible. I think it was wonderful. And my friend Luis got up and demanded Oscar's freedom. Freedom comes from our heart, so I want to end by saying, let me read my poem. Is that Sandy? Yeah. My baby? Ow! Let me read my piece and then, let me read my poem and then we can have a question and answer. We don't have to, but it's okay. It's called Freedom. Freedom comes from our souls. It's a part of our essence. Freedom, shut up. Hey. What the way to Joe? Ay, Dios mío. You don't have a crew, bro? Oh, good. Look, all right, Papi, it's all right. I'm sorry. It's not Periscope. You got it, Bobby. Freedom comes from our souls. It's a part of our essence. Freedom, libertad. At times we suffer for freedom, and the end result is always beneficial. Freedom, libertad. Once I arrived to Borinquen, I felt freedom immediately in my heart because our people received me from all walks of life with heartfelt embraces. Freedom, libertad. One thing I have realized is that I have always been free, even while incarcerated under the worst of conditions. Freedom, libertad. Personal freedom comes from within when one is clear about what one believes in. I believe in the freedom of my nation, homeland, Puerto Rico. Freedom, libertad. People say that I have a way of being that is strong, yet tender. I try to allow my heart to always guide me. Freedom, libertad. I have walked the streets of San Juan, Guanica, Yauco, Jayuya, Juntas, Las Marias. I have been seeing every day the need for freedom, libertad. Puerto Rico appears to be free. Our people smile, oh yes, dance, definitely, party and share. Yet our country is still not free. We remain a colony of the United States of America, never being able to have self-determination. Freedom, libertad. In 10 years, I have witnessed many beautiful awakenings. Oh yes. The victory of Vieques, yes. The outburst of support for Comandante Feriberto Ojeda Rios after his assassination by the FBI. Freedom, libertad. The streets were filled with children, even government workers, even the police saluted his funeral entourage. Freedom, libertad. As time passes, the victims are forgotten. Reality sets in. Nothing truly happens or has changed. Conditions of poverty, poor housing, miseducation, corruption prevails, but repression is alive and well. We must continue forward, never losing our spirit to be free. Freedom, libertad. I reside in Loiza, where the Cimarrones live and the essence of our African roots are from. Young people don't even know who Lolita Lebron or Adolfina Villabuena are. They have no knowledge of the struggles their ancestors have endured. Freedom, libertad. Bomba Planet, wow, are heard on the streets every weekend. Wow, yes. And you know what? Once a year, everyone hits the streets to celebrate La Fiesta de Loiza. Wow! Freedom, libertad. I wish we could celebrate the beauty of Mother Africa every day. I wish we could show our children the beauty of Freedom every day in their schools, the streets, the library, and on plazas. Freedom, libertad. A freedom that encompasses why they are so beautiful and alive. Why their bodies move to unknown rhythms. Why their skin is in shades of luscious chocolate. Why the vigilantes should be their heroes. Why the vigilantes should be called love. Why every female should know she is a cacica. Freedom, libertad. Freedom is something that comes from one's soul. My soul tells me that our battle has not been won. We must make freedom a priority in our lives. Freedom, libertad. Yes, a freedom, a spirit to change what surrounds us. A change that incorporates all of our body, being, mind, body, and soul. Without fears. Exactly. Freedom. Everything we need to accomplish in life has a consequence. We live, we love, we work, we care, we fight for what is real and just, with dignity and commitment. Freedom, libertad. Let us begin a new walk, a freedom walk, with heads held high, committed to humanity, self-determination, and self-love. Let us walk and fight for a free Puerto Rico. Lolita Lebron lives in the month of women. Blanca Canales lives. Carmen Perez lives. Doris Torresona lives. All our Puerto Rican heroines are part of our spirit and soul. Que viva Puerto Rico libre.